Welcome back. It's Sunday morning and I am about to head to the club for a boiler test on our club engine, the Club 3.5 Doris. However, I thought I might just give you a swift update of what I've been doing here overnight. Well, not overnight, last night. It's not a lot really. We were clearing some rubbish and having a little bonfire to show, or to get rid of a lot of the pile of mess that we've got. But while we were waiting for the bonfire to die down, we did just quickly lay out a few bits of track. As you can see, this was sort of to show just how much we need to build up this area here. But while we're building up that area there is a source of earth, because out the back at the other end of the driveway, see that set of points there, that needs to be level with the road, so that's all going to have to come down considerably. So what we dig out there can go up there. But yeah, it was just a quick layout. As you can see, there'll be a set of points and a 2-track station here, and then it sort of dives up around the back of the pool. So that's where we are. I'm still trying to think of a name for the railway. I did think of the HPLR, the Hoo Peninsula Light Railway. That's sort of my favourite at the moment. If you've got any suggestions, please get in touch. So now, one of the main reasons for doing this little intro was to give the car a chance to warm up, because it is a little bit icy at the moment. So, off to the club. So I'm now at the club, and Loco's already got out. We've just filled it up with water and we just started to pump it up. Let's see how it goes. So following that concerning leak, we have taken the plugs out the top, re-threaded, taped them and put them back. Let's see how it goes. A slight weep on that joint, but nothing too much to worry about. The regulator gland's leaking, but as you can see, the pressure gauge seems to have gone awry. We will have to have a look at that when the pressure comes back down. A little bit damp inside as the blower valve leaks slightly. Again, nothing too much to worry about. So there we go, it has passed its hydraulic test. However, that pressure gauge has not returned, so despite the fact there is no pressure in the boiler. So no steam test today because of the pressure gauge, but other than that the hydraulic has passed. We'll have to get a new gauge ordered and try again another day. So as much as a shame that is that we can't finish the test on that, it does give us a chance to have a little look at what else is around today. This is a new member to the club with a new engine, and it's a new engine to the club as well. So it's a 5-inch Manor. We'll take a little look at that. Oh, sorry. So I've just been looking at the certification for this manor, and there's noticed a few issues with the certificate. The gauge or scale hasn't been filled in, not the biggest problem. Hydraulic shell test not undertaken, that's fine. Hydraulic repeat test not undertaken, that's fine, although the hydraulic test information carried forward, the date's been put in, but the certificate that it's been carried forward from has not been entered, or the working pressure. However, when you come down below, shell test not undertaken, hydraulic repeat test not undertaken, steam test passed, date of next cold examination hydraulic test, a date's been put in, which is the valid date from the other certificate, same date as up here. But that should have been struck through because no hydraulic test was undertaken. And you've got your working pressure and your steam test expiry. Looking back to the previous certificate, which is shell test not undertaken, repeat test undertaken for a test pressure of 150 psi, working pressure of 100. Hydraulic test carried forward from that certificate. Now I've looked at that certificate, and that's the one that's that had just expired, which shows a working pressure of 100 and this date. Well, that's not the date which is on this certificate. Because a repeat test has been undertaken, this should have been struck out and nothing put there or there. Personally, I think that the old certificate and the old expiry date should be put in because it keeps a paper trail back to the shell test. Steam test not undertaken. No, we saw that on the next page. And then down here you've got not undertaken. It's past the hydraulic, not undertaken, and that's the correct hydraulic date for this certificate, but it shouldn't have been put in up here. And steam test due, that should probably be struck through because steam test was not undertaken. Just out of interest, looking back at some previous certificates for this engine, this particular one, was that undertaken? Who knows? Was that undertaken? Who knows? Was a steam test undertaken? Who knows? And where's that date come from? The hydraulic shell test was not undertaken. The repeat test was not undertaken, which means there must have been a certificate carried forward. Where's the certificate number and the working pressure for the certificate carried forward? But that should have been struck through because no hydraulic test was undertaken. It says they're not undertaken. Steam test, pass. That's fine. This next one is pretty much correct as it happens. So shell test not undertaken, repeat test not undertaken, so there's no test pressure applied, no working pressure applied. Cold testing carried forward from certificate number, correct, for that working pressure and that date. Perfect. Steam test undertaken. Shell test not undertaken, repeat test not undertaken. This should have been struck through because the hydraulic test has not been undertaken. The information's up here. And then it's been a pass. Set to £100. Steam test due. An error was made and then corrected in that last steam test did not have 12 months before the expiry of the original, so you can see they'd put 12 months in originally and then changed it to the same expiry as the hydraulic. So that's good, well recovered following this.
nothing majorly wrong with it, is there? So that pack rail on the top there and whatever one is loose.
Yeah, it's kind of
Cool.
yeah, it's calmed down a bit, isn't it?
I've just checked in the boiler code, and yes, the hydraulic test does require the pressure gauge to be present. So we can't issue a certificate for the hydraulic. That will have to be done once we have acquired a new gauge. So hopefully next week, but maybe a week after that. So I just thought I would include that as a little note of what to look out for if you're buying an engine, if you've got an engine. If you're a boiler tester doing tests and filling in certificates, although I think the boiler testers should be getting it right, there are some that might be making these mistakes. This is not a criticism of them, it's not a witch hunt to try and get rid of those people. It's a learning curve to try and help people get it right in future. It's a privilege for the hobby for us to be allowed to do these tests. If something happened and things weren't in order, we could lose that privilege. So that's why I just thought I would point out a couple of little issues that have been there.